I think Ben Johnson's holding out for Dallas. I really do. I believe that
Don't
last
snap.
year. I believed it last year when I'm sorry. I believe Ben Johnson's holding out for Dallas. I thought last year, we knew last year he should have got a job anywhere. He would have got a fuck ton of money. I think he's holding out for Dallas. And if Shanahan's somehow fired by the Niners, which I think he should be, I think that the Niners make a play for Ben Johnson as well. But I don't think it's the Eagles.
That makes sense.
Oh,
That makes sense.
but I strongly believe Ben Johnson wanted the Cowboy job.
You're Ben Johnson. You're Ben Johnson to Dallas. I've heard you give. We've done the show almost 2 years. That to me is the craziest take that you've ever given.
Because you gave me
given. And
my Lincoln Riley take, according to you guys, was insane a year and a half ago. Not so much today. My Trevor Lawrence take 2 years ago, not so much today.
You know,
I'm telling you, it just makes sense for me. Why would Ben Johnson not come out last year and take one of the jobs that was available?
I think Shanahan still has 1 year left, honestly, before he's out. Shanahan has 1 year.
I think Shanahan with the injuries, I think they have 1 year left. But I think Dallas will move on.
Who deserves it?
And Dallas deserves to move on from Dallas needs to move on from McCarthy. And I really believe that was what Ben Johnson was holding out for. I strongly believe Ben Johnson is a cocky motherfucker. When you watch him play call, his cockiness is like 3rd and 8 from the 40. I'm running it because I'm going to get it because I'm a bad man. Me throwing fucking to the offensive tackle for a touchdown against Dallas was a sign of, look at what I can do, Jerry, to your fucked up ass coach.
Right. Yeah, but I think that's also a philosophy that they have, though. I think it's a little bit different. I don't think he brings that to Dallas. I think that is what that coaching staff and that team brings specifically in Detroit. I don't think that he can take that, and I don't think he can take that to Dallas. It's a different mindset. It's a different mentality. It just works in Detroit because Detroit has that chip on the shoulder type of play and type of guys. It does not work in Dallas. It doesn't. It really, truly doesn't.
Was a high-powered offense. Dallas was a high-powered offense last year. Dak finished, I think, second in the MVP voting. They were high-powered. All they needed was a running back.
So yeah, but they didn't have that. They didn't have that FU style though. They were high-powered, but they didn't have that FU. We're better than you.
Because Mike McCarthy doesn't bring that. I'm better than you. Dan Campbell and fucking
Dan Campbell does,
and so does Ben Johnson. You can tell in Ben Johnson's play calling when it's where he's getting to a point where it's like, "Fuck you, we're better."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I watched him run play last year against the Chargers. It works because Ben Johnson makes it work. That's what I believe.
Yeah, when he lines up your offensive tackle as a wideout and then scores, it's kind of like a fuck you right there.
When you're running on 3rd and 8 from the 40-yard line, and you get 11 on 3rd and 8 when you have a fucking stellar wide receiving core and a top 10 quarterback, and you decide to run the ball and you get 11. Like that is just it's kind of like I'm dropping my balls on the defense is what I feel with Ben Johnson, and I believe he wants that Dallas job to prove everyone wrong in a team who hasn't made an NFC title game since fucking 5 years before Eddie Money was conceived, maybe 7. I don't know what year Eddie Money was born, but probably 7 years before Eddie Money. 7 years. 7 years. Eddie Money before
Goodness gracious.
Conceived. 7 years.
I heard Steve. Yeah. I heard Steve Young today on, I believe it was Dan Patrick. He was amazing, by the way. Steve Young was great on that show today. And he said something that made perfect sense. First of all, Jerry Jones and the Dallas, why he's not going there. They're in salary cap hell. They have no money for next year. You still got to sign Parsons. That's a whole nother issue. But the biggest issue with the Dallas Cowboys is that they haven't, and this is not my words, this is Steve Young's words, a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champion, 2-time MVP. He said Dallas's issue is that they haven't had a head coach since Jimmy Johnson in 30 years that walks into that locker room and can say, fuck you, you're off the team. That has the authority and the hammer to say, this is my fucking team. You're sitting, you're starting, because it's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones will continue to put puppets ever since ever since he put Barry Switzer in and won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer while Barry Switzer was eating a fucking hot dog, in the third quarter. I mean,
Don't do that motion, Eddie. Don't
Troy,
do that.
at that point, there was at that point, there was veterans up and down that lineup. You've seen the clip where Troy Aikman is. No one's holding anyone accountable here. He's yelling at Switzer. That is the issue with the Dallas Cowboys. Is that
I'll tell you,
Jerry Jones wants to be and Ben Johnson? Why would you go there if your balls are going to be cut off? And you're saying that he has huge balls. His balls will be cut off if he goes to Dallas.
Listen, Steve Young's comment was inaccurate as fuck. Because I don't know if everybody forgets that Bill Parcells was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and did whatever the fuck he wanted. Or did Steve Young forget that part of it? He didn't win, but he did whatever the fuck he wanted.
How long ago was that? He said the last 30 years. How long ago was that?
It was before 30 years because that team it was before 30. It wasn't 30 years ago. It wasn't 30 years ago for sure because that team.
And Parcells got the fuck out of there because of that.
After like 4 seasons though. After 3 or 4 years, and he didn't 3 or 4, but he didn't win. But that dude, Ben Johnson, I believe in my mind, I strongly still believe it that Ben Johnson wanted the Cowboy job, and I think that's where he's going to go. But that's
Parcells was the last guy that could do that, though.
Well, Bill Belichick
that was the last guy
who can do that.
No. I'm saying Parcells was the last guy that was allowed to do that in Dallas, that had the head coaching job in Dallas. Since then, it's been nothing. Like he had Jimmy, he had Parcells, and those guys outshined him. And I mean, if you can't, think of the guys. Jason Garrett, who was their head coach. Like, just stop. He doesn't want guys that are bigger than the star. That's not what he wants. And you can see that. It's apparent. They're not going to succeed until Jerry gets the hell out of the way. It's not going to happen because Jerry always has to be the top dog. He's got to be, I sign the checks around here. This is my team, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's him. No other owner or GM has a press briefing after every game.
And a radio show, by the way.
And a radio show.
Right? Where he's basically MFing the host and telling them he can replace them. Like, just stop.
I agree. Jerry Jones is a problem. I said it a couple weeks back that Jerry Jones is the problem. I believe Jerry Jones is the problem. But still, you need a man to head coach. Ben Johnson is the guy. That's my opinion. I'm riding with it.